Mitch McConnell is still in charge of the Senate. In spite of everything, in spite of all that we've done, in spite of bullets being shot at Trump's head, all this, the movement that we've suffered and people have actually died for, Mitch McConnell is still in charge. Now, can't walk. Plenty of videos of him literally collapsing throughout the Senate, being pushed around in a wheelchair, but he's still running things. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that this Democrat zombie filibuster is allowed to continue because a zombie senator like McConnell wants it to continue. I sometimes wonder maybe Mitch McConnell doesn't like the talking or the standing filibuster because he can't talk or stand anymore. I don't know.
So can you explain to me why John Thune is avoiding the play like Ebola or like a proper plague, a simple majority vote? Why is John Thune doing that? I thought that John Thune had 50 votes on this.
Yeah, so we're actually getting a front row seat to a wonderful show that I like to call failure theater. It's been put on for years by Republicans. And the way it works is this. They don't actually want to pass something. They don't really care what their own voters want. They care about delivering for K Street. So in this case, what they don't have the votes for is voter ID, voter security, election integrity. But they want to get credit for it. And the way they do that is they always set up these 60 vote thresholds. And those are great because you don't have 60 Republican senators, so they know it won't pass because remember, they don't want it to pass. But it allows them, knowing that it's going to fail, to set up failure votes, which is what Thune wants to do. Thune does not want a majority vote because he doesn't have, regardless of the 50 co-sponsors on this, he doesn't have 50 votes. So what he wants to do is set up a 60 vote threshold, knowing it will fail, so he can get every Republican or nearly every Republican on board. See, Mitch McConnell will go on a 60 vote threshold and he'll vote for it because then he can go back and say, well, of course I supported it. John Curtis will go and vote for that. But the second you make it a simple majority, which is all you actually need to proceed to the bill to get on a talking filibuster, at that point, you are exposing the most left wing, the most rhino members of the party. And that's actually who John Corner and John Thune are wanting to protect. They're not trying to protect elections. They're trying to protect the worst members of their own party for any accountability for what they actually believe.
So could you please help me out with understanding some of the mechanisms of the Senate? I know this is like a dangerous parliamentarian deep dive that most people, their eyes glaze over, but it's critical here. John Thune is making a choice. He could just do a simple majority in order to bring the question to the floor and to begin the talking filibuster. He could do that today. He could do that this minute. Is that correct?
That's correct. So there's generally kind of two hurdles when you want to move to a bill. You first have to move to proceed to it. That motion is generally debatable, which means it takes 60 votes. And then once you get on the bill, you actually, the bill itself is debatable. So then you have another 60 vote threshold. So in general, on normal bills, it's 60 votes to get to the bill and then 60 votes to get off. But because the House has already passed an S bill, which is a bill that originated in the Senate, has already passed that, put the Save America Act on it, and sent it to the House via what's called a message. Messages from the House are privileged, which means in order to proceed to them, that motion to proceed is not debatable. It's a 50 vote threshold. It's a simple majority threshold. So when Thune says, well, I don't even have the votes to even proceed to it, he's either being dishonest and hoping people will not understand the process, or he's being extremely honest and confessing that he actually doesn't have a majority of his own party who will proceed to a bill to protect our elections. And so to me, the real signal of what's happening is John Thune going to do that message to the House, which is a majority vote, or is he going to set up a fake vote from a new bill so that he can architect a fake 60 vote obstacle to protect those 3 or 4 or 5 Republicans like McConnell who just don't want to vote to move to it?
So 2.5 weeks ago, Susan Collins officially said that I will be the 50th support vote for this. Or were they lying effectively in that? It was celebrated by Mike Lee, it was celebrated by quite a few people who said that they could get this done now. Someone's lying, Sean, and I hate news cycles like this. I don't serve in the Senate, and neither do you, but our friends like Mike Lee and Mark Wayne Mullen have told me that they do have 50, they do have a simple majority to vote at the very least to get it onto the floor. So is John Thune lying or is Mike Lee lying? Who's lying?
No, Mike Lee is definitely not lying. There's 50 co-sponsors of the Save America Act. But the thing is, co-sponsoring a bill is very, very different than actually voting for it when it gets to the floor, voting for a particular procedural maneuver. The bill itself has 50 co-sponsors, but the real rub is how many people are going to vote to move to that by simple majority, to move to that message from the House. And that's the entire game right now. I think Thune is correct that he doesn't have a majority because he's actually not a leader. When he goes out and says, well, I don't have the votes, he's acting like a passive scheduler. Yes. Leaders whip. Leaders bring people in. If we wanted a scheduler, why not just have a robot be leader? What is the point of him?
You can see it in like his you can tell, right, in his speech and his cadence as he's describing this. He has absolutely no authority and he has no conviction about this at all. Well, he just mumbles through it. We'll see if Democrats want to have illegals vote in our election. Like, that's not the way that the American people think. The American people think that every single time a Guatemalan gang rapist votes, it cancels out my vote. And it deletes my heritage in this nation and my value here. And so, like, this is existential to the base. It's clearly not existential to John Thune. Why is that, Sean? What is that?
Well, yeah, it's fascinating to watch that speech. I'm glad you played so much of it because he cribbed heavily from what friends of mine and I called the swamp glossary. There's certain key words that they just kind of default to when they're in trouble, but they don't really want to tell the truth. The first one is, it's just math. It's just math, Benny. What can I do about the math? Gee, I don't know what a majority leader can do. The next one is, we have to be clear-eyed. We just have to be the adults in the room, as if Donald Trump isn't clear-eyed, as if Donald Trump is not an adult in the room. It's so dishonest. I wish they would just be honest and come out and say, look, guys, I know you care about voter integrity. We don't really. We want to move to permitting reform. We have the K Street guys who are funding our campaigns and hiring our staff and putting us on corporate boards when we're done. They really need to move to this like corporate tax welfare bill. Can you just stop demanding things like, I don't know, safe elections so we can get back to the business of making money as members of Congress? It's just so disgusting. We expect it from the left. That's what they do. One reason I think it's so disheartening now is that we don't expect it from the right. We don't expect it from Republicans. And yet time and time again, they demand the trifecta. They demand the White House, the House, and the Senate. Well, we can't do anything without all those three. And then as soon as they have all those three, it's nothing but a bunch of excuses about why they can't do what they told us they were going to do for a decade.